Hello everybody and welcome back to For Real. I hope November is going well for you wherever you are. We really appreciate your support watching these videos. As you might know, we donate all of the revenue from this channel to charities here in Cambodia. In the description of this and every video you can see how much we've given and who we've given it to. Don't forget you can join us over on Instagram for other bits and pieces between videos. Today's accompanying ride will take us from Phnom Penh Riverside towards the ferry that goes to Silk Island. Thanks to everyone who watched our recent apartment tour. It's time to get started with this week's news. Today is Wednesday, the 24th of November 2021. The first thing we need to do is a quick recap on the visa, border and quarantine news from last week. The day after we published that video, there was information circulating that it had become possible to convert a tourist visa, that's a lowercase eVisa organised online prior to entry into Cambodia, to a long-term extension of stay, specifically an ER or EB extension. This is for tourist visas with a 2021 date. If you enter Cambodia on a tourist visa in what's left of 2021, this could be an option for you to stay in the kingdom long-term. Be aware though, not all visa agents have the connections necessary to work this magic, meaning those that do can name their price. It's also not clear how long this option will remain available. If you want to stay long term and you're not in a rush, it's probably better to wait until the E-type visa is back. If you have a job lined up, you'll be able to apply for an E-type visa from a Cambodian embassy or consulate. And two more statements about the current situation. Visas on arrival are still not possible, and the land borders remain closed. I'd like to offer clarification on the requirement to have fort insurance. The wording now says this insurance is encouraged as opposed to required. I think airlines are still interpreting this as required, so they don't experience any issues with passengers not being allowed to enter. If you test positive for COVID when you arrive in Cambodia, you will be responsible for the treatment bill. This might be why the fort insurance is still listed as encouraged. I'd rather pay the $90 for the 20-day fort insurance than be faced with a huge treatment bill, or worse, be sent to a local hospital because I don't have insurance. I'm not sure how the price of fort insurance compares to other insurance, but it does seem pretty reasonable. Anyway, it's your choice. I'll drop the FAQs from last week's video into the comments section of this video as well, so you can find them easily. The World Tourism Organization, or the WTO, is promoting the quarantine exemption for all fully vaccinated travellers to Cambodia, while the Tourism Ministry has expressed confidence that more international tourists will come to the kingdom. A Tourism Ministry spokesman said that it is a strong point for Cambodia's tourism. He said that the ministry is also making sure that all tourist destinations in the kingdom are safe and reliable. He said once we achieve this, international tourists will be interested in travelling and will see Cambodia as a good choice. Cambodia's tourism minister expressed optimism that with the WTO's help in disseminating the quarantine waiver for fully vaccinated tourists, more international tourists will come and visit Cambodia. He said that during the 3 days of the water festival, it was evident that domestic tourists were starting to support businesses such as hotels and restaurants. All of these factors point to a return to normalcy and the resumption of economic activity, especially for businesses in the private sector that were suspended in the past, he said. They are also making it safer by stopping gun runners. The Phnom Penh Municipal Court detained 4 of 7 military officials who were accused of being involved with the recent weapons trafficking case. The weapon trafficking activities came to light when 2 caches of firearms and ammunition were found by authorities in Battambang, near the Thai-Cambodian border. Questions are raised over the origin and destination of the weapons. One top military official speculated that the guns and ammunition might have been intended to be trafficked to Myanmar, or maybe Phoi Phet. A shootout between a group of Cambodians and a group of Thai nationals occurred at a pub in front of Paradise Casino in Phoi Phet at 11:23 p.m. It resulted in 4 people, including 3 military police officers, being wounded. 11 people were arrested and Phoi Phet City military police have mounted a manhunt for more suspects. They will be questioned under intentional violence with aggravating circumstances, where, if found guilty, they will face between 2 and 5 years in prison. Moving on to the live price of pigs, it is expected that the price will increase in the upcoming months due to increasing demand in the local market. This increase is due to catering services for weddings, parties and functions, events that had been on hold during the pandemic. At present, the price of a live pig is 9,000 Riel or $2.25 per kilo, an amount where pig raisers cannot make a profit. With the government reopening all sectors, including the catering services, restaurants and wedding parties, demand for pork is going to increase. The price of live pigs is estimated to increase to about 10,000 Riel, but could go as high as 12,000 Riel or $2.95 a kilo in the upcoming months. This is welcome news for animal raisers, who for a long time had been unable to sell their pigs due to the limited market demand. The price of animal feed has also increased, meaning that their situation was even more dire. Streetlights were donated by the Prime Minister to 2 villages in Takao's Samrong district. The residents of both villages had requested the installation of streetlights in their villages. Mr Hun Sen donated solar streetlights to cover the length of a kilometre of roads in the villages. The newly installed streetlights would facilitate the safe travel of residents of both villages at night. The government has been undertaking projects towards installing streetlights in various villages and provincial districts to facilitate safe travel during the night time. In September of this year, Svay Rieng's Chantrea district also unveiled new streetlights that were funded by the government. Most of the streetlights that have been installed in the provinces are solar-powered. An unfortunate motorist found himself in an unpleasant situation last night when he drove into an open sewer in Phnom Penh. Bystanders say that the silver Toyota Prius was driving from north to south when, in a momentary lapse of reason, the driver managed to manoeuvre himself into an unpleasant-smelling end. Fortunately, the driver was uninjured, although the same cannot be said of his vehicle, which appeared to be liberally coated in the effluent. After the incident, authorities came to check that there was no impact on the people and state property and assisted the car owner in calling a crane to extricate his unfortunate vehicle. Now an update on the 7 felons who escaped from prison. When we last reported on this story, 4 of the men had been recaptured, and we can now report that all 7 are back behind bars. The Ministry of Water Resources and Meteorology has issued a warning over a forthcoming spell of cold weather coming from Siberia through China, with temperatures plummeting to a chilly 15 degrees Celsius. The ministry says that the cold weather in Siberia will push high pressure from China down towards Cambodia. The weather will start to cool down in the first week of December, and temperatures will continue to fall until the 3rd week of December. During that period, some days will be moderate to cold, particularly in the upper provinces and the northeastern plateau. Daily minimum temperatures in these areas are expected to be around 17 to 19 degrees Celsius. Other provinces can expect to see minimums of between 19 and 21 degrees. After a slight rise in temperature, temperatures will again become cold from the end of December to February next year. Prime Minister Hun Sen has called for everyone to look after the elderly and the homeless during this period. He instructed provincial governors to prepare coats and blankets for distribution to the homeless, orphan children and monks. Well, that brings us to the end of this week's news video, so you are up to date with all of the goings-on in the kingdom. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this episode of the News Moto, it'd be great if you could like, subscribe and leave a comment. As I said earlier, I'll leave the frequently asked questions about visas, borders and all that kind of thing in the comments section. And in the description of this video, there's links to all the other channels that we follow and also channels that are making content in Cambodia. So have a look at those. You might find something that is of interest to you. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
It's a weird looking one, isn't it? Kind of military looking, but not. Whoa. This bike's so much better with a bigger tyre. A huge improvement, isn't it? The bigger tyre is a huge improvement.